Welcome to this episode of the Swim Swam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, we have newly signed Speedo athlete and American Paralympian swimmer, Ahalya Lettenberger. Ahalya, thanks so much for joining us today. How's it going?
Good. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
You just signed this inspiring new partnership with Speedo, the world-renowned swimwear and accessories brand. They've been a partner of SwimSwam for over a decade now, which is super exciting. And now you get to join in this family too. What does this new partnership mean, not only for your swimming career, but for you personally?
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, this is kind of a dream come true. I've been wearing Speedo for like as long as for as long as I can remember. And I'm just super excited to represent them and also just to kind of give a bigger platform for para swimming.
Yeah. What in the lead up to Paris, you've already been to one Paralympics. You were in Tokyo. You won a silver medal in the 200 IM there. So in the lead up to Paris, what does this mean for how you'll move it through the next 6 months with training as well as with recovery and with support?
Yeah, obviously, like the next 6 months are huge. And I just went pro, so I'm really excited to be able to just focus on long course and international racing. Obviously, the big goal is Paris, so just taking those little steps along the way. I have some smaller international meets coming up, and then trials at the end of June.
What do those international meets look like for you? I feel like
Yeah,
that's always kind of exciting, and it's cool to travel, right, to different
yeah,
countries.
definitely. There's like the Paraswimming World Series. So it's like a circuit where they have meets kind of all over the world. So I'm going to one in Italy in mid-March, and then we have the US stop I think it's in Indianapolis in like mid-April.
And then where are your trials, your Olympic trials?
They're at University of Minnesota.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So you'll get some traveling. Have you ever been to Italy before?
I have once, but I'm really excited to go back.
Yeah. Were you there for a competition that time, or was it?
Yeah, I used to do triathlon, so I went there for a triathlon like probably like 4 or 5, no, probably more than that, probably like more than 5 years ago. Yeah, but I've never been. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of the city it's in, but it's like right on the coast, so it should be beautiful.
That sounds pretty nice. Coastal city,
Yeah.
you can't really go wrong. So you used to do triathlons. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how you ultimately decided on swimming?
Yeah, so I went to trials for swimming in 2016, and I was 15 at the time, and I just missed making the team. And so after that, I was just a little bit burnt out and like obviously disappointed after like barely missing the team. So I decided to switch gears and try triathlon for a few years, and so I did pretty well. I went to a couple world championships, and it was really fun. But ultimately, swimming's like my first love. So I went back to swimming. I kind of had to decide before I came to college, and then also like before Tokyo. I knew that if I really wanted to do well in either one, I kind of had to pick one. So I chose swimming.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy about triathlon, and then what ultimately led you to come back to swimming and choose swimming when you went to college?
Yeah. I think I'm like I'm a big distance, like the distance races are my favorite. And in para, like our longest race that we're able to compete in at like the Paralympics is the 400. So I really liked the distance aspect of triathlon. But my favorite part of this triathlon was like the open water swim. So I knew that kind of told me that that I should go back to swimming.
Do you ever compete in open water, or do you see yourself, maybe after your pro career, pursuing open water in any way?
Yeah, I think so. And I honestly feel like maybe I'll eventually go back to triathlon, especially since it's like an older sport. But I do really love open water swims. They just had their first Para World Cup for open water swimming this year. I didn't go, but I'm hoping to go like next year if they continue it. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Wait, are they in cool international locales also?
It's also in Italy, so that's kind of funny.
Not a bad. It doesn't seem like a bad place to go for a competition, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, that seems great. So tell me about your swimming roots. As you said, that was your first love. When did you start swimming, and how and why did that come to be for you?
Yeah, I started swimming when I was like 10 years old. I grew up like loving sports. I'm in the middle of two brothers, so I just like always been really competitive and love sports. And in elementary school, I played like soccer and softball, but for someone who can like barely walk, like walk a lot, let alone run, like those are not the most conducive sports for me. So eventually I like had to give those up, but I still really wanted to compete in sports. And that's kind of when I found swimming with like a local club team. And like the first time I dove into a pool, like I just knew it was right. Like it's just really freeing, especially like being someone in a wheelchair who like doesn't have that freedom of movement on land. The pool is really, yeah, it's just like freeing for me.
Absolutely. I feel like being in the water generally, right? It has that
Yeah.
effect on people. We're 70% water. So it makes sense that we would connect with it. But when do you remember when you first learned to swim?
Yeah, I learned to swim when I was like pretty young,
Mhm.
just like at our local summer pool. And I have always loved the water. Like my grandparents have a lake house in northern Wisconsin. We'd always go up to, and you would always find me in the lake swimming. So I've definitely just always loved it.
And so then when you started competitive swimming, what was the first club team or team that you were a part of, and how did competitions start for you?
Yeah, I started with a team called Wheaton Swim Club in Illinois. I'm from Chicago, so um, and I didn't even know about the Paralympics until I was probably 2 years into like competitive swimming. So it started out like competing at just normal like able-bodied club meets, and of course, like when you're competing without using your legs, like it's not exactly a fair competition with people who can kick. So I was getting like last in in most of my races, but somehow I stuck with it, and I still loved competing. And then I finally found out about the Paralympics like right after the London Games in 2012.
Mhm. Did you watch those games at all?
I didn't. I found out about it like right after because there was a girl named Alyssa Gialamas who was like from our area who also happened to have the same disability as me who competed in it. So I didn't watch those, but I watched Rhea.
Gotcha. Uh, so for our listeners, you Ahalya was born with Arthrogryposis Amyoplasia. So that's, I think I said that right.
Yeah.
Which is a musculoskeletal disorder impacting lower limbs. And so, can you tell me how that affected you from birth, and then again how swimming was able to kind of have an impact on that condition?
Yeah. I was born with arthrogryposis, so it affects me from the hips down. So basically, it causes like joint restrictions in my ankles, knees, and hips, and then it also just causes like general muscle weakness in my legs. So I can walk short distances, like around the house, but I use a wheelchair to get around most of the time. So normally, when you see me on the pool deck, I'm in my wheelchair. And then in the water, it affects me. I don't really kick. I can't really kick. And then I like use an assist, or somebody assists me onto the block. So somebody like holds my hips while I'm on the block, and then I'm able to dive in.
Nice. That's cool that you get to dive in. I feel like that's one of the best parts of swimming.
Yeah, it is.
So for competitions, were your brothers also swimming at the time when you started?
No, actually, nobody in my family is a swimmer, so I'm the first one.
You're it.
Yeah.
Why didn't they want to swim? That you couldn't talk them into it?
No, apparently not. They are not great swimmers. So it's fun when I get to race them. I kind of leave them in the dust.
That's a great feeling, right?
Yeah.
Especially
Oh
as a
yeah.
middle sibling, I'm sure
Oh yeah, for sure.
um, so you were the only swimmer. Was there a reason you couldn't, or was there a reason your siblings didn't join in, or you were the only swimmer?
I don't know. I guess my older brother played soccer, so he just was a soccer player, I guess. And then my younger brother, he actually has the same disability as me, but it affects him more. So he's affecting his arms and his legs. So he was more like he did like theater, and then he also did power wheelchair soccer.
That sounds intense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I would love to see it. I would love to
Oh
see that.
yeah,
That sounds
they
awesome.
ram into each other. It's a good time.
Okay, so you're the only swimmer,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find out about para right after the Paralympics. How does that springboard your journey into swimming forward after finding out about para competition?
It definitely like changed it completely. I mean, like just being a part of the para community has definitely just helped me a lot just in my life. Like it really helped me embrace my disability and like accept myself. Like now I wouldn't change having a disability for the world, because like it's given me such incredible opportunities like in swimming and just in life. And then obviously it like completely changed the trajectory of my swimming career, because I've been able to, travel the world competing for Team USA. Not many people can say that, so it's been pretty awesome.
Was there a moment, and maybe that was the moment, when you went from being someone who swam in your own head to being a swimmer?
Yeah, I feel like when I went to my first para meet in like 2013, that's when I was like, no, I'm a swimmer and like I can go somewhere with this, like, which, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. And then when did, trying to make a Paralympic team become a reality or become a possibility for you?
I made my first international team. I made para pan packs when I was 13, so I was really young then. But I feel like that was when I was like, wow, like maybe I could actually like do this and make a team. Um, so yeah, and then I obviously just missed Rio, but then after that, like I yeah, I don't know. It's always been my dream ever since I found out about the Paralympics. So.
Hmm. What was it like to make an international team at 13? That 2014?
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, like I had just found out about para like a year earlier, a year and a half earlier, and went to my first para meet in like May 2013. So like in like just over a year, I made my first international team, and like it was a huge team. It was like 45 of us, because it was in Pasadena, California. So we were like able to take a really big team.
Yeah.
And I was one of the youngest, and it was just like a very surreal experience. Like honestly, I don't remember much of it now, but
Do you remember your races or how you swam?
I remember I remember just being like I didn't do like amazing or anything, because I was only 13, and I just
Yeah.
remember being like, wow, I kind of have a long ways to go, but it was really cool to be able to race against like all these people who were on like the national team, and like were Paralympians at the time.
Absolutely. I can only imagine that.
Yeah.
Did you, what were your biggest takeaways from that meet, if you had any, or, just experiences that you do remember from that meet?
I feel like my biggest takeaways were like the potential and
Mm.
like that I really did love it and I loved competing internationally. Like that was so much fun. Like as a 13-year-old to be able to like compete against all these different countries and like to be a part of a team like that, I feel like that was like the biggest takeaway was that like, wow, this is like possible and I could like really do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So flash forward to your first trials in 2016. Again, the seed has been planted. You think you have this idea that you can make this Paralympic team.
Mhm.
Take me through that trials experience and kind of what it was like for you again as your first trials, and then to ultimately come up short of that goal.
Yeah, I was only 15 at the time, so I feel like the pressure and like the nerves really got to me, and that was a really big learning experience. I'd been to Pan Am's the year before, and I had won gold, and I feel like I just felt like pressure coming off of that, and um, I don't know, just like I felt like I had all these expectations, like being so young, like oh my gosh, like to be able to make a Paralympics like when you're 15, that's like crazy. So yeah, that definitely got to me at the trials, and I definitely like didn't swim as well as I could have. But that was a huge learning experience, like going forward, and then like into future trials meets.
Again, can you put into words what you took away from that experience, or what you learned, what you feel like you gained just from having competed and swum at a meet like that?
Yeah, I feel like what I took away was that like other people's expectations, like to not worry about other people's expectations, and like when you think that other people are putting pressure on you, like they really probably aren't. Like you're really making that up in your own head,
You're probably
like
wrong.
yeah, like nobody like not that nobody really cares, but like you don't like look at someone else and if they do bad, you're like, oh my gosh, they did so bad. Like most of the time, like you don't really think much of it. So I feel like that was my big takeaway was that like I really put all that pressure on myself. So I kind of the next few years like learned to like navigate that pressure and be more confident in myself.
And then again, you skipped out on swimming. You went to triathlon for a while. What do you feel like you gained just mentally from that experience? Right? Do you feel like you had mentioned you needed a break? Did you feel refreshed when you came back to swimming? Did you feel confidence in a different way, or like you had gained, a perspective that you hadn't or may not have if you had spent that time swimming?
Yeah, definitely both of those. The big thing was confidence, like to be able to go and just like go right into a sport and like be able to go and make world championships. I feel like I was just like I just I had done track in high school, so I kind of like had all the pieces to be able to like put together a good triathlon. And after like not making games and having that like confidence kind of destroyed, it really built back up my confidence. And then like taking that step away from something when I came back, I was so refreshed and like I came back because I wanted to come back, not because it was like I had to or something. So like it was really a choice, and I like that like reignited my love for swimming for sure.
Yeah. And so then tell me about your second Olympic trials experience.
That was a lot better. I definitely just had a lot more confidence and like I had a lot more international experience under my belt because I made my first worlds in 2019. And then I guess COVID happened then, and then we had trials. So I feel like I was just in so much of a better headspace because I had won a world championship medal. I had been through the experience of not making games before. It kind of felt, instead of feeling like there were all these expectations, it kind of felt like I had nothing to lose. Like, might as well just like go for it. Yeah.
You've been to the bottom, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not literally, but
Yeah.
you know what missing a team felt like, and
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I think that's an important experience to have, because
Mhm.
it's like, all right, well, I know what what the what the downside's going to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so then your first Paralympics, you go to Tokyo, which I'm sure was a bizarre experience in more ways than one, just because of how the pandemic kind of made things.
Yeah.
But yeah, how was Tokyo?
I had the best time ever. Like, it was really the best experience of my life. Um, I know it wasn't the typical games experience, like just with all the restrictions and having no spectators. But since I had nothing to compare it to, like I feel like I had a great time. And I kind of went in with no expectations just because it was my first games. I was just super stoked to be there. Um, so then when I like came away with a medal, that just blew away like any expectations I had.
What made it so good? What was it
I
so
think
exciting?
living in the village was definitely the best part for me. Like it's one thing like you're living beside like the best athletes in the world, but then on top of that, with in the Paralympics, like you have people with all different kinds of disabilities and like nobody's looking twice at each other. Everything is like perfectly accessible. It just really felt like equality and diversity and inclusion. Like it was just like I wish like the world could be like that. Like it was just an unreal experience. I wish everyone could have.
Yeah, that sounds like utopia to me.
Yeah, right?
That's really cool. And so on the competition side of things, do you feel like it was a very different environment than other meets you had been to?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, it was just like the biggest, like the highest stakes meet I'd ever been to. But then on the other side, it was like no spectators. Like the energy was so different. But honestly, for my first games, like I feel like I mean, obviously, I wish there were spectators there, but like having nobody there, it kind of did take a little bit of the pressure off because it was like like there's nobody here to watch. Um, yeah,
Nobody to fakely put pressure on me.
yeah, right.
Totally. Yeah. So what was it? What I don't know if I talked to so many people who went to these Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. I don't even know if I asked anyone this. What was it like winning a medal and like no one in the stands?
Yeah, it was weird. I'll say that. Luckily, I had like a few teammates that were able to be in the stands, so like to look up and see them was nice. But um, it was very different than anything I'd experienced before. Like not being able to celebrate with family, like nobody there cheering. Like it was kind of eerie. But at least I was able to like call my family after.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good consolation, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
um, so then, since then, how have you felt about swimming? So you took this break. You were a triathlete for a while. You came back. You went to a Paralympics. You're obviously just starting a professional career now. But can you take me through after this Paralympic experience, where you've been at with swimming and what your relationship has been like? Because I know we talked to a lot of athletes about kind of an Olympic come down or the
Mhm.
Olympic blues, but then just navigating through the next couple of years where it seems like the pandemic has kind of affected everyone's schedule. And then we have this shortened cycle where we're already at another Olympic and Paralympic lead up.
Yeah, I definitely experienced that post Olympic and Paralympic come down like pretty hard. I didn't like right after I came back and I kind of just went right back into things. Like we were in the college season. So I just kind of I didn't really take much of a break. I maybe took a week or two off. And then I was right back into it. And so I feel like it didn't really sink in. Like I didn't have time to process anything. So then like I went through college season, which was so fun, and like still I hadn't really like processed anything. And then as soon as like the first kind of like international, like we had worlds, and so we had like world championship trials and worlds, like that's when I really it all kind of like hit. And I feel like I did struggle like with my relationship with swimming. for a while, like from that Worlds, and even this past Worlds, like it was like a period of like a year and a half, where I was just like struggling. Like I felt like I had achieved, like winning a medal at games was like my ultimate goal. So on one hand, it was like I just achieved everything I dreamed of. Like what's next? Like why am I still doing this? And then on the other hand, it was like this pressure to be able to repeat that and like do it again. So I just, yeah, it was definitely a struggle, but I did take some time off. Worlds were at the beginning of the summer in 2022, so I was able to like take the rest of the summer off of swimming, which was like really good to help me like process things. And then after Worlds this past summer, I've just like done a lot of like mental health work, and I feel like I'm in such a better place with swimming now than I have been. Like I feel like I'm really rejuvenated, and I've been just so excited for this year.
Yeah. So a couple of questions off of that. First off, what is, if you don't mind sharing, what does that mental health work look like for you?
Like I'm now seeing like a sports psych and therapist, and that's helped a ton. Just to help me like actually process like my feelings and emotions.
Yeah, dude. I think everyone should have
Yeah.
someone in their life who is an unbiased party that they can just talk to about their feelings.
Yeah, right?
I mean, you don't even have to have trauma or issues. You know, you can be perfectly normal. Just like have someone to talk to about your day, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty awesome.
That's really great to hear. So congrats on that. And then and then in terms of your rejuvenation in swimming, you know, how are you feeling about it? How are you able to kind of restructure your goals or reframe what it is that you did want to accomplish?
Yeah, I feel like I knew coming into this year, like I graduated college in May from Rice, and I knew that like I wanted this year to be different. Like I felt, because I mean I've been in college for 4 years, and then I did Tokyo like being a college swimmer, and it just kind of felt like the same thing over and over. And I was like, I know that I want things to be different, so that's kind of like why I decided to go pro. Like I used part of my fifth year the first semester, but then now I'm like pro. So that's been a big difference, just being able to like have a different structure and like not be stressed all the time, like managing school and swimming, because I feel like that was also a big part of it. And then also just having goals outside of the pool. Like I'm going to Loughborough in the UK next year after Paris on a Marshall scholarship. So kind of knowing what's after Paris has really helped me to be like, I have these goals outside the pool. I'm not just swimming.
I love that you brought up Rice and Loughborough because you are not only a Paralympic medalist, you are a genius. You graduated from Rice University. What was your degree in at Rice?
Bioengineering.
Yeah. Point taken. Very. And then you were awarded this Marshall scholarship. What is? Can you tell me about that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a scholarship. It's funded by the UK government, and they this year it's like somewhere around 50 students from across the country were awarded this scholarship, and it's like a really prestigious scholarship. Basically, it's full funding to go do a graduate degree in the UK for 2 years. So I'll be able to go do 2 master's degrees in the UK and just live abroad for 2 years. So it's pretty awesome.
Basically, you're a big deal.
Oh my gosh! No.
Nice. Congrats. In
Thank
all
you.
seriousness, that sounds amazing. I told you this off camera, but I got to go to Loughborough 2 years ago now to do a shoot there, and I thought it was a great town, and I loved the. Well, are you gonna swim there with the team?
Yeah, that's the plan.
I love the coaches there. The team has a great environment. There are other athletes who were products of the NCAA who will be there
Yeah.
or who are training there now, and so I think it's a great opportunity. What what motivated you to do this? Why did you want to go abroad and specifically to the UK to pursue master's degrees?
Yeah, so I want to go into like assistive technology. So I want to design like exoskeletons and prosthetics, things like that to help other people with disabilities. In the UK, they're just like really at the top for like assistive technology and for like disability rights and even para sport. Like I really wanted to go and like swim in the UK and to experience that in a different country because I don't know, I just feel like the UK after London, like after the London Paralympics, they really came a long way in like awareness for the Paralympics and kind of equality and equal opportunities. And I feel like the US has like a long way to go in that. So I just want to be able to experience that and like bring some of that back to hopefully like raise awareness for the Paralympics in the US.
Makes total sense. And I hope that journey goes really well for you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Once again, congratulations. That's such a cool opportunity.
Thank you.
So in the meantime, we've got 6 months until trials, I believe. Are your trials are in June as well?
Yeah, end of June. Yeah.
Okay. Are you still training at Rice until then?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. And then you've got a few competitions until then. So this will be your third trials. You've obviously kind of experienced both ends from that meet, or both outcomes, right?
Yeah.
Didn't make the team and made the team. So what are you looking forward to about this lead up as well as this Paralympic trials this time around?
Yeah, I'm just excited to be like a veteran now, and it's really nice to be able to like go into this like knowing more what I'm doing, I guess. Having that experience of like going to a games, like medaling at a games, like going through this whole thing, and on top of that going through it during COVID, like it's really exciting to be able to do that now. Hopefully, knock on wood, like without COVID or anything like that. And just I'm really excited to be like a leader on the team. I really want to be a leader for the other athletes, and to be able to have that experience is really cool.
Absolutely. And then one final question to end this podcast with: what's your favorite Speedo suit?
I love the Valor 2.0.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What makes the Valor 2.0 the suit for you?
I just love, like, it just makes me feel so lightweight and like fast in the water. And the new one, like it's collaboration with Lamora, which is a space tech company, which like, of course, my engineering background, I like nerd out about that, but it makes it more like water resistant and durable. So that's been really awesome. I just raced in it at the Tier Pro, so it's really awesome.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.